First Merchants Bank. First Merchants Bank, helping you prosper.
Put it in the upper right-hand corner just like a postage stamp. That's a good bingo.
Get ready to learn more about the Columbus Blue Jackets players and coaches, as well as find out what's going on this week in the NHL. Now let's join Bob McElligott and Jody Shelley for the Inside Edge, presented by First Merchants Bank.
Well, here we are in the final week of training camp. It seems like we waited so long to start training camp, and now it's almost over, believe it or not. The Blue Jackets have 6 preseason games in the books. They've got 2 more left. They're both against Pittsburgh tomorrow night at Nationwide Arena, Friday night in Pittsburgh, and then the final roster will get set, and by next week, we'll be playing games for real. Welcome to the Inside Edge, presented by First Merchants Bank. Bob McElligott, along with Jody Shelley. And Jody, back in your playing days, this must have been a pretty good time. Well, I guess it depends if you knew you were going to make the team or not make the team. But when you've only got a couple of games left, you're in that final week, you can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Yeah, before I get to that, how's your voice, Bob? Because, you take the summer off. I know you do call a little baseball, but it's been pretty intense here for traveling and calling these games.
Yeah, it's, what do you do? 8 games in 13 days or something like that, 4 and 5 this week. So, hey, look, I haven't been bored.
No,
Let's say that,
good.
Right? And I haven't seen anybody at home, so
yeah.
I mean, we've been gone, but yeah, it's been okay. I think the baseball over the summer actually helped me this year.
Help the pipes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, when the calendar changes to October, that's the best time of the year as far as a National Hockey League player or professional player, because as I've said many times, September is the most dreadful month for a lot of reasons. You're trying to make a team, you're trying to make an impression, you're competing with guys, your fitness testing is just hanging over your head to start the month. And then, you think about training camp. So, 20 guys play. There's a couple spots open on a roster. You know who you're competing with. And one night you're out and the guy you're competing with is playing and he plays really well. And you're sitting there, well, okay, can't wait to get home, get to bed, get back to work tomorrow and try to get a little bit, work a little harder. And you're seeing that at this point in camp. I feel like the first few days, it's really a feeling out process, how I feel, who I'm playing with, when I'm playing. But now the guys that are left, you can see what's shaking out here with this camp. You can see that the NHL starts on Friday. Game number 1, that Global Series over in Prague. It's going to be Buffalo against the New Jersey Devils. They're going to play Saturday. I think it's Saturday morning at 10, Friday at 1. And, it's going to be fun to watch. Then we have to wait until the end of next week to play game number 1. But you can see it coming, and you can feel things start to take shape as the season's about to start here. And it's a great time of year. October 1st, that was yesterday, and now it's time to really sharpen things up and get ready for the first game. And everyone talks about the start always and of the regular season. You think about Buffalo, that team. They've always had high expectations. I think this year they're at their highest. They have to make the playoffs this year, and they're a great example of terrible starts. I mean, it's really been their Achilles heel the past few years. So that's why the importance of these games early, and New Jersey with a new head coach and how they're going to play, a bunch of new players, a bunch of injuries around the National Hockey League. So it's an important week, and boy, it seemed like a long ways away, but here we are. It's ready to kick off.
Yeah, it does. Even when you start camp, you're like, okay, well, this is going to take a while. And all of a sudden you're at today and you're like, geez, it's almost over. It's time to go. When you're talking about just seeing how things are starting to piece together here, when you look at some of the line combinations that Dean Evason has put together, you can see he's doing it with a purpose. Maybe some of these combinations will be together at the start of the season. I mean, Boone Jenner, Sean Monahan, Kirill Marchenko, these guys have been pretty much together throughout camp. They've played a couple of games together now. Wouldn't be a bit surprised to see if they start the regular season on the same line. Last night, I liked Adam Fantilli with Yegor Chinakhov and Dmitry Voronkov. And when Dean has talked about putting together lines, he just said this a couple of mornings ago before a game. He goes, well, if you look at the old school thinking, you're trying to get somebody that's got grit and then somebody that's a playmaker and somebody that is a scorer. And when you look at that line, you got a little bit more than that because Voronkov has very good hands, but he's also got that great size, and he uses that size to his advantage. You've got Fantilli, who I know has already scored 4 times during the preseason, had 2 assists last night in St. Louis, too. So, but he can make plays or he can score goals. In Chinakhov, we know what he is. He's a pure shooter. So again, is that a line that's going to come out of preseason into regular season? I don't know, but it's just fun to watch the combinations that get put out in these games of the quote-unquote NHL guys, and maybe you can look ahead and see a little something.
Yeah, and it's important when you have someone like Fantilli who's a driver, and early in camp, Chinnikov, he wasn't getting his spots. It seemed like he wasn't getting his shot away. I felt like Marchenko as well. So you try to get players that can push the defense back, open up lanes, give time and space to your wingers, and then when you add a guy like Voronkov, a big guy in front of the net, I mean that takes up probably two guys. That's a lot of times, and that'll open up some ice. So. It's definitely not only the ingredients for that chemistry, but who do you need to get going? Remember a few years ago, Texier, it was whoever he played with would start playing well. Yeah. It's because he was predictable. And I feel like Fantilli has that in his game where he wants the puck. Okay, if I know you want the puck and you're gonna, when you have it, you're gonna make something happen. I can try to get lost in the weeds. I can follow where you're going and try to find that passing lane or get to the net for a rebound. And there's a lot of ease in playing with a guy like that. So, and for Dean Evason, he came in, he had to try to figure out who these guys were, watch video. But when you watch him practice, you watch him go through struggles, or you see them get frustrated, you want to get them going. That's the position he's in right now. He wants everyone to feel really good about things going into game number one. And you look at Boone Jenner on the wing. I mean, that's a different look for Boone. I know we've always talked about it. It seems like every year we're like, Boone's going to play the middle, but he's a really noticeable centerman. I mean, he's a guy when the game's on the line. I forget what game it was last year. Was it against the Devils? They were down, and he just put the team on his back. I mean, he does it a few times a year where it's just like he wills the team back with goals.
So you go back to that Sharks game. Remember where he scored?
Sharks game is what it was.
12 seconds left in the regulation?
Yeah, I remember that. That's exactly what it was. And, on the wing, I think it's just a little simpler on the wing. But you don't have the puck as much. You don't really drive in that middle of the ice. You're not starting the play. So he's adapting, and so is Voronkov. I know he played a little bit on the wing last year, but he's a guy that likes the freedom to roam and be involved in the defensive zone and not be stuck on the wall sometimes. And that's something these guys have to get comfortable with going into game number one.
Let's talk about the flip side of that. Last year, Adam Fantilli was coming out of camp as a winger, and he was a centerman all through his career and through college, and they wanted to give him less defensive responsibility. This year, no doubt, he's playing the number 2 center position right now. Does it make it easier, do you think, for him? He's back at his natural position, and he just kind of knows where he's going to be and what he has to work on?
Yeah, I think it might have rocked him a little bit actually last year to be put on the wing and kind of be guarded. And as the more you get to know him and the more you understand him, he wants the big moment. He wants to be the guy that's called upon to be on the ice when it's a big penalty kill, 6-on-5, or they're down by 1 goal. And, that's a driver from the middle of the ice, and I think that settles him in because, everyone wants more responsibility. Every athlete wants to feel important, right? Wants their worth. And for him at the center ice position, he wants the challenge of playing that defensive role, but he also wants to be engaged in the middle of the ice, and he wants to prove it. And here's a guy that got injured and watched the scoring race end the way it did last year for the rookies. And I saw him on the ice at the end of last season. I think there was like 2 days left with nationwide ice in, and he was just picking pucks up off the wall. He was just getting pucks rimmed to him. And I was actually out there, and I was shooting a video, and he goes, "Hey, would you mind receiving passes from me off the wall?" I'm like, "Sure." And I thought, he's like, "Yeah, well, you can shoot the puck once I pass it to you." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, no problem. I can still shoot." I was out there for probably like a half hour with him, and he picked up all these pucks. He wanted to get better. And he was talking about how Kucherov picks up pucks on the wall. He's the best in the league. Everyone watches him do it. It's an undervalued skill. And the puck gets rimmed around. He gets it to me, and I shoot. And by about 10 minutes in, I was dripping in sweat. I was so done. And then he kept going for another 25 minutes. And I'm like, geez, and this kid doesn't want to stop working. Finally, the Zamboni doors open, and he's got to get off the ice. I'm just
music to your ears.
Like, thank goodness. By the way, my shot is horrendous now. It used to be decent. But anyways, yeah, my point is, he was anxious at the end of the year to get back and play hockey. it's great to see him have a great, wonderful camp here, and especially with the new coach, because they know where he's going to be, and he's a guy that's going to push to be that number one center.
All right, let's talk about the defense, because that's where there seems to be a lot of question. I don't know if question's the right word, but there's a lot of guys, and how's it going to sort out? And I guess the biggest question is Denton Matejchuk. He's having a really great camp. Yeah. I mean, he's already got a couple of goals. That's one thing. But it's just about watching him on the ice, the way he glides, the way he seems like he always winds up in the right spot and all this and that. Look, he came in last year from junior, went to the American Hockey League, jumped right into a playoff series, and played like he'd been there all year long. There's probably no reason to think that he couldn't do something similar to start in the NHL, but there's no guarantee he's going to start in the NHL. Don Waddell has talked about development and how important it is and getting guys in the American Hockey League. But he's making that decision, I think, very tough. I laugh because I talked to Mark Letestu in the press box, and every time Denton scores, he's like, oh, man, because, he's a Cleveland coach. They want that guy badly. And it's and, of course, it's all a joke because he wants Denton Matejchuk to be in the best place. But he's being noticed is what I'm trying to say here, and it's going to be interesting to see if he made enough notice to be able to make this team.
It's interesting with Young D, and you look at the first two games. I mean, these are preseason games, so there's more scramble to the game. You're just not seeing full lineups. But, game number 1 is against the Minnesota Wild. Game number 2 is against Colorado Avalanche. And you think about that, and think about Minnesota. They have Brock Faber, who's 22 years old, came out of University of Minnesota. He's a star. He's really came onto the scene last year and was one of those players that flew under the radar a little bit in a lot of markets in the National Hockey League, but played 2 games out of college, and then he played every game last year. And, he's a bright spot, and you really have to look at more than just the goals, like you said, and the other parts of his game. They're excited about this player, but he's coming out of major junior. You have some pretty established defensemen here. There is a spot that he could take, So it's going to be a big decision, and that's what you want. You want the managers and coaches to have to make tough decisions for these players. He doesn't need waivers to go down. So it depends on health, right? And it depends on how much he gets tested in all situations. And they're not just watching the goals and the timing offensively. They're watching how he takes the puck and gets out of pressure, makes plays easy, and that's what he does really well. He has a quietness to his game where he can take the first option and make a hard pass, and those are things. It's a small detail, but it's a big deal. And the Blue Jackets, of course, defensively, the focus is not only protecting the front of the net, but getting out of your own end and controlling the puck. He seems to do that really well. So it'll be interesting this time next week to see what the lineup is and what they have done with Denton Matejchuk.
If I asked you to look at this roster and say, Jody, who's one guy that maybe nobody's talking about that you think might have a chance to make this roster? Is there a wild card? Is there a surprise guy on it for you? Is there anybody that jumps out?
Well, I mean, there's been some talk of Del Bel Belluz, and it, to me, he doesn't look like a threat all the time, but the guy just scores goals. I like the way he plays. I like the way he jumps in on the faceoff dot. He's smart, he's creative, and he makes something out of nothing in the offensive zone. Very intelligent player. And he's a guy that developed last year in Cleveland. And, with that long run they had, that's where you get some confidence in the playoffs. And I think him coming to camp, I think his first game last year, he serves a penalty and comes out of the box and scores in his first shift.
First shot.
First shot, first shift, and it was like, hey. And then you think, okay, that was lucky. But you watch him in camp, he just knows where to be at the right time. And when you're a team looking for goals, it's not just a shot. He scored one the other night, short side. It was ridiculous. Everyone in the building thought he was going far side, including the goaltender. And I like him. I think he could have a chance maybe at jumping in there. I know Malatesta's got that chance because he played last year, and he's got that spark plug energy to his game. But I think Del Bel Belluz is making it difficult on some of these decisions they have to make.
Yeah, and last night in St. Louis, he didn't score a goal, but I'll tell you what, he won a big face-off in the left wing circle, won it clean, and set up Gavin Brindley, who just shot it immediately, and it went right into the net. It was beautiful. And speaking of that perfectly sets up a transition to the next segment of the show. Gavin Brindley. I had a chance to sit down with him yesterday and have a long chat before we went to St. Louis to take on the Blues. So Gavin will join the show right after this. You're listening to The Inside Edge, presented by First Merchants Bank here on 97.1 The Fan.
Big voice guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or 2 half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Attention Ohio pizza restaurant owners. Tired of glitchy point-of-sale systems slowing you down? Meet Hunger Rush, Ohio's favorite pizza POS. With reliable hardware, an easy-to-use system, and 24/7 customer support, Hunger Rush speeds up your operations and boosts repeat orders by up to 10%. This is the restaurant point-of-sale built for pizza. Easily manage your drivers, easily take orders online, easily train your staff in minutes, and easily make modifications. Need to talk to a real person? That's easy too. Top Ohio pizzerias are winning with Hunger Rush. Solutions to help you streamline service, optimize workflows, and maximize profits. Join the thousands of successful restaurants transforming their operations with Hunger Rush for $0 down and $0 a month. Tools for menu management, marketing, customer engagement, and increased upsells, all in one simple platform. That's Hunger Rush, Ohio's favorite pizza POS. Schedule your free no-obligation demo at ohiopos.com. ohiopos.com. ohiopos.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Hi, here are some ways to listen to The Fan. You can download the Fan app, or listen at home on your smart speaker, or open up the iHeartRadio app, or hold your head out the window and hear Common Man scream. Happy listening from the dopes at The Fan.
People can't say enough amazing things about Vanscoy Hair Clinics. Men and women struggle with hair loss every day, and they completely change their lives. Vanscoy Hair Clinics is the only company in Ohio that has PRP, platelet-rich plasma, and the multi-unit hair grafting hair transplant procedure. Go to vanscoyhair.com for more info, or call 614-432-8042. Here's what some of their hair transplant clients have said.
Around 26, 27, I lost almost all of my hair on top. It changed my life in ways that I could not imagine.
My hair is going to continue growing for the rest of my life.
There is hope that you can do something about your hair loss.
Multi-unit hair grafting gives you 3 times more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Hair transplants are more affordable than ever, and PRP is a fast, easy, and effective 45-minute treatment for thinning or damaged hair. Call Vanscoy for a free consultation, 614-432-8042, or visit vanscoyhair.com. That's 614-432-8042. Find out what procedure will restore your hair.
Let's talk interest rates. Not that kind of interest. I mean interest in you. At First Merchants Bank, we are 100% interested in your success. Our bankers provide a level of attentiveness unlike any other. We're here to get to know you and to be a helpful partner in your financial success. Aren't you tired of your bank just saying they care about your business? Make the switch to First Merchants Bank and feel the difference of real, honest interest in you. First Merchants Bank. For a better banking experience, visit firstmerchants.com/switch, helping you prosper.
Bread Financial is proud to be the official financial services partner of your Columbus Blue Jackets. They provide simple, personalized payment, lending, and saving solutions.
From the Bread Cashback American Express credit card to high-yield savings and CDs to buy now, make that score now, pay later options, you'll find financial solutions for your budget and your goals, hockey or otherwise. Learn more at breadfinancial.com. And let's go Blue Jackets.
You know that thing you've always been too scared to go for? It seems like you'll never have the guts. Then a cancer diagnosis. And doing that thing becomes way less scary. I would know. I've always wanted a black belt. And today, the only thing standing in my way is a few wooden boards. It's been a lot of hard work and 5 years since I beat cancer at Ohio Health. Bring it on. You keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keep making plans to learn more.
All Blue Jackets, all the time. This is the Inside Edge with Jody Shelley and Bob McElligott. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Welcome back to the Inside Edge, presented by First Merchants Bank here on 97.1 The Fan. Yesterday, before the Blue Jackets took off for St. Louis, where they eventually beat the Blues, I got a chance to talk with Gavin Brindley. By the way, he had a goal in that game last night against St. Louis, but I talked to him about coming into this training camp. A little bit different one for him because he played one game in the NHL at the end of last season, and I asked him if in any way, shape, or form that makes things a little bit more comfortable coming into this training camp.
Yeah, I think it definitely helps coming in at the end of last year and just kind of seeing where you're at and taking some things back with you for the summer just to work on. And obviously it's been great to be around these guys and learn from all these high-end players. So just trying to soak it all in and be better every day.
Let's go back to the end of last season. When your season ends in Michigan and you've got to make the decision, are you going to turn pro? Are you going to stay in school? How's it all going to work out? Take me through that process, if you don't mind, and what you talked about, what the Blue Jackets talked with you guys about, and what you talked with your family about, and how you ultimately decided to sign and play that one NHL game.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, I think that the decision was up to me and what I wanted. It's my hockey career. It's not anyone else's. Obviously, my family and my advisor in Columbus, they obviously had their inputs and what they wanted me to do. But I felt like after going to Michigan and my time there with my teammates, coaches, I feel like there's no better place for me to go to develop. And I feel like those 2 years were the best absolute 2 years of my life. And I wouldn't trade it for the world, and Michigan was amazing to me, and relationships that'll last a lifetime. And but at the same time, I felt like I was ready to take the next step and turn pro. And I felt like I made the right decision. I still feel like I did make the right decision. And I mean, it's the same thing, right? You come to the rink every day, and I'm 19 years old and sign an NHL contract. It doesn't get much better than that. So it's tough to be sad waking up every day, and it's an absolute dream come true for sure.
But how tough is it to make that decision when you just finish a season of disappointment again, right? Because you guys had higher aspirations, win a national championship. When that stuff doesn't happen, does it make it tougher or to make that decision? Because you still have, it's still kind of a fresh wound, right?
Right, yeah, 100%. I think both years you went to the Frozen Four and lost. It's tough to make those decisions right away, especially when you go right back to school and you're hanging out with the guys for the last couple of days before everyone goes their separate ways, and a lot of those guys will never play hockey with again. So it's definitely tough, and especially after the years that we've had, like I said, going to Frozen Four and having very successful seasons and just falling just short, it's always in the back of your mind. And I hope those guys this year can get it done, and hopefully Michigan gets it done soon. But yeah, I mean, the decision is very tough at the end of the day. Obviously, Michigan is amazing, and playing in the NHL isn't too bad either. So, yeah, two places that I don't think you could go wrong with either.
Yeah, it's hard to say it's a consolation prize to play in the NHL, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Talking with Gavin Brindley of the Blue Jackets, and if you look at the roster, you're a Florida kid. But there's kind of quotation marks around that in a way because your dad's from Thunder Bay, Ontario. He played college, played professionally, and wound up in Florida. And so that's where you grew up and learned the game. You know, it's not even a surprise anymore, guys coming to the NHL from Florida, California, Arizona. But tell me a little bit about the Florida hockey community that you grew up in. And, you know, like here, there's numerous rinks in town, and you can play in town. You don't have to go that far to play somebody else. What's it like in Florida when it comes to
number of rinks, number of players, and how far do you have to travel to have a legitimate competition and schedule?
Yeah, for me, it was unbelievable. I loved it. I played a bunch of different sports too, so after hockey practice, I was at soccer or lacrosse or baseball or played volleyball for a little bit. It was a bunch of different stuff, but yeah, I mean, growing up, we didn't have AAA hockey, so we had AA. We'd have a team in every kind of major city. So there was a Tampa, Fort Myers, where I was from, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, Jacksonville. So there's about 8 teams, and you'd go every weekend. You'd play weekend series against teams, and that's pretty much how we did it for the longest time. And then we started doing a AAA kind of spring tournament. So we had all the best kids in Florida, and we went and played in Toronto, I think was the first time, and we've freaking pumped. We pumped some teams, and my dad was coaching, and he was like, man, like this could have something figured out here. And we got very fortunate. Our 04 group was really, really good, and we stuck together till we were 15, 16 years old before we left, which doesn't happen too often. A lot of kids tend to leave early in Florida. But, I mean, waking up and going to school and then showing up to the rink in flip-flops and a swimsuit from the pool, like, it doesn't get much better. So, as a kid, you know, it's all you ever wanted is to be outside and play and whatever. For me, it was go to the hockey rink and be on the ice. And the rink is 2 minutes from my house still to this day. And, yeah, it's so much fun. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Obviously, growing up in Canada and playing hockey is a big thing, but I feel like in Florida it's getting bigger and bigger, and we're very fortunate to have the kids that come out of there now.
Your dad retired from when he finished. Was he with the Florida Everblades in the ECHL?
Yep.
Okay. Now, how much of an impact did that have on you to go to the game? I know your dad was the captain of that team at one point too. So, you know, how much impact did it have on you as a kid to go to the rink, to watch your dad, just be around and be around that atmosphere? And is that really what kind of drove you to? You said you played other sports, but is that what really made hockey be the thing you wanted to do?
Yeah, absolutely. That was all I ever wanted to do. I mean, growing up before school, I'd turn on NHL on the fly and watch the highlights from the game because the games were going on too late and I would already be in bed. So just get a little recap of what happened the night before and go to school. And yeah, I mean, all I ever wanted to do was be at the rink. My best buddy, Seamus Casey, who's in New Jersey now, we did practically everything together. Playing the same team pretty much our entire upbringing. And then we went 2 different places when we were 15, but yeah, no, we just loved being together, loved being on the ice, whether we were playing full-on hitting when we were 8 years old in the middle of the rink during stick and puck or whatever it was. It was always fun just to be on the ice and be around the locker room with my dad.
You talked about your group stayed together for quite a long time in comparison to what many groups do. How valuable was that for all of you guys, and how many have really benefited from that as far as just advancing and playing still to this day?
Yeah, I mean, that was what really kept it together, was all the guys kind of staying. I mean, if we would have lost 1 or 2 of our top-end guys, I don't think a lot of guys would have stayed. So having that, and I think my dad and the coaching staff helped out a lot to bring kids in. We had a couple kids from Chicago and a couple kids. We actually had a kid from Vancouver come play, and we had some kids from all over the place.
That had to be an easy sell, right?
Atlanta. So we had some kids that came down to play, actually, and then as soon as we started getting really good, teams would start coming down to play us, and that was kind of the big thing. Like, who doesn't want to come to Florida right after Christmas, right? So it was always Mid-Fairfield, Honey Baked, Little Caesars, us, Chicago Young Americans, like Lane Hudson's team, Rucker McGordy's team. So we had a bunch of really good teams and guys that it's crazy we play World Juniors with now, and we're like, man, 12 years old, we were playing against each other AAA. But yeah, I think we have probably 7 kids play Division I hockey, and then Fowler, Seamus, and I were the World Junior team, so 3 kids from the same team from Florida, which was pretty cool. So it's yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's growing like crazy down there.
Talking with Gavin Brindley tonight here on the Inside Edge. I also want to remind you to check out the new Pick 6 Flex Plan presented by Franklin University. Choose the games that you want, including this season's home opener against the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, or face-offs against the Penguins, Rangers, Blackhawks, and more. Plus, when you purchase before October 16th, you get a bonus ticket to see the Blue Jackets take on the Buffalo Sabres on October 17th. Get yours today by going to bluejackets.com/pick6. Back with more of the Inside Edge presented by First Merchants Bank here on 97.1 The Fan.
Common Man has spent the past 18 years telling you how much he hates people. And yes, that probably means you, too. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays at 3.
The Fan.
Hey, it's Anthony here, and if you're like me, you're either suffering with foot pain or expecting it to come back at any time. If you're also like me, you probably go for the easiest, most convenient solution first, the old drugstore insoles. And then you find out you can't Band-Aid foot pain. I would go out to a bar or restaurant, and I'm the guy searching for the place to sit down. I've actually gotten rid of shoes I like because my feet still hurt. Well, it all changed when I went to the Good Feet store and tried their pain relief solution. Align the feet, align the body. My personally fit Good Feet store arch supports help place my feet in their ideal position. They now distribute the pressure evenly across my feet, and that provided the additional stability and balance, and that has taken care of my pain. Go in, try the Good Feet feeling today. Take a free test walk. Bring your own shoes. See how they fit, because you deserve comfort in your life. The Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road.
Ohio, ready for some quick mental health facts? Let's go. Nearly 2 million Ohioans live with a mental health condition. In the U.S., more than 50% of people will be diagnosed with a mental illness in their lifetime. Depression is a leading cause of disability worldwide. So why are some of us still stigmatizing people living with a mental health condition when we know all of this? Let's listen to the facts and beat the stigma. Ohio, challenge what you know about mental health at beatthestigma.org.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444 Roof. Rise and shine, jabronis.
What a show this morning.
There's only one place where Buckeye legends lay the smackdown. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekday mornings starting at 6.
Give me a juice box,
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey Columbus, Caden Curry here, Ohio State student-athlete for Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. I've had to be versatile my whole football career. Of course, I'm a defensive end, but I've also played special teams and even played fullback. Whether I'm blocking or tackling, I've got to be ready for any job out there, which is why I love the versatility in Kubota's BXB and L Series tractors. There's no task too big or small with Kubota tractors from Green & Sons. Visit greenandsons.com today, or stop by their stores in Mount Sterling and in Raymond, north of Marysville, and get yourself a Kubota tractor that works as hard as I do.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're all about getting you and your crew to quit in time sooner. That's why our service is a cut above. You see, no matter the project, we'll get you to the right metal, shape, and grade. Cut to any size, ready real fast. And yeah, we'll deliver. Leaving plenty of time for the important things, like opening an ice-cold can of aluminum. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal.
I'm Leslie from Pella Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from that other window place. And aspiring comedian.
That's fun. What's your best joke?
All right, 2 windows were hanging out side by side. The first window says, "Sure is a hot day." The other one says, "Ah, a talking window."
That's pretty good, Wilson.
Bet you can't top that one.
Well, at Pella, we don't have the talking windows, but we do have the windows your friends will talk about.
Dang it, that's good.
Get the window that Columbus homeowners rate the leading and most trusted at PellaColumbus.com.
There's always time for the drive-thru deal. Because no matter how fast you are at making breakfast, McDonald's is faster.
Wake up to McDonald's breakfast and mix and match a classic sausage McMuffin, delicious sausage burrito, or crispy hash browns. Get any two for just $3. Order ahead in the app and pick up curbside. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Can't get enough Blue Jackets conversation? Good news. It's Hockey O'Clock. It's the Inside Edge with Jody Shelley and Bob McElligott. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Welcome back to the Inside Edge, presented by First Merchants Bank. I'm Bob McElligott, and tonight I'm talking with forward Gavin Brindley of the Blue Jackets.
So you get to be 15 years old, and you wind up playing in the USHL in Tri-City. How do you go from Florida, doing all those great things you were just talking about, to getting to Tri-City and play there?
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever been to Kearney, Nebraska. It's not the greatest place probably to go to in the world, but I mean it was so much fun. Town of 30,000 people, and I was 15 years old, living with a billet family and 2 older guys. I think they were probably 18, 19 at the time, and I loved every second of it. You could go to the rink as long as you want, come home, we'd play video games until dinner was ready, and it was just like rinse, repeat, get some school done here and there, and it was awesome. Just learning how to grow up and learning how to be on my own was something that was really important. And I'd say I definitely came back home after that season, the second year, probably a little bit more mature. My parents from coming back, and yeah, I mean, when you surround yourself around older guys and guys that you want to be like, I feel like it just comes with time that you mature and you fill into your own shoes. And yeah, it was unbelievable. It was a blast, and the coaching staff was awesome, and we had 2 really good teams again, and relationships that'll last a lifetime.
I think people forget how young you are when you leave home in this sport. You just said 15 years old, and quite honestly, you come from a hockey family, so I'm sure you had that understanding, and they were thrilled with the experience that you got.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my dad definitely understood it, and my mom was definitely a little bit hesitant at first, but yeah, I mean, it's just if you love hockey and that's what you want to do, I mean, you're going to have to take some risks. And, I mean, it sucks that you're away from your family, and it was during COVID too, so you couldn't go home a bunch. And I have 3 younger siblings, so couldn't be home a ton, but it was definitely crucial for my hockey path so far, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
So it comes time to go to college. Your dad went to Miami, right? So was there any... Did you try to strong-arm you at all to go to Miami, or did he just let you make the Michigan decision?
No, he just let me make my own decision at the end of the day. Like I said earlier, it was my hockey career, and it's what I want to do, but he definitely had his input on some things, and definitely listened to him, and he helped me every single step of the way. So, yep, Michigan was the place for me for sure, and I don't think any other school could compare to my experience at Michigan.
Yeah, but you could have got into Ohio just a couple of years earlier.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, so let's talk about Michigan. It's turned into, obviously, it's a factory churning out players. There's no doubt. And I hesitated for a second because it's almost become a feeder team to the Blue Jackets when you look around the dressing room here. Adam Fantilli, of course, a good friend of yours and a former teammate, and you're now teammates again here. Are you amazed at the Wolverine connection in this organization?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I don't think you have anything like that anywhere else on other teams, so it's pretty crazy.
And the fact that it's in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty wild, but I love Columbus. I didn't know much about it. My mom's from Coshocton, so kind of driven through a couple times, but I love it. Low-key and nice. You get away when you're away, and nice to just hang out. But, yeah, it's definitely wild to have the Michigan connection here. I don't know how many people would have thought that would be happening, but yeah, no, it's just nice to have kind of that comfort as a young guy and have Werenski and KJ and Jack Johnson and Adam, and then Blanks was here last year, so having those guys just to pick their brains and feel a bit more comfortable with definitely helps a lot. And JJ, I mean, he's been around for I don't even know how long. So some of the stories and some of the stuff that we talk about that went on back at school and just stuff around the league, I mean, he's seen it all. So it's definitely I'm sitting there with like a bowl of popcorn every time he talks. So it's yeah, it's a lot of fun and definitely helps a lot to have those guys around.
Yeah, I was going to say Jack is like the elder statesman coming back here now, right? When I talked to Jack a couple of weeks ago, he said that Zach Werenski would have to be kind of his go-between his generation of Michigan and your generation of Michigan.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, he played with my head coach that was at Michigan, Brandon Arado. So, yeah, lots of funny stories, and yeah, it's crazy.
Talking with Gavin Brindley of the Blue Jackets. Let me take you back a couple of summers ago when you got drafted by the Blue Jackets in Nashville. And, you know, you go there on the first day and you're hoping that you are one of the 32 guys that gets taken in the first round of the draft. And it doesn't happen for you that first night. It happened really early the next day, obviously. But, you know, just what are your thoughts as you're sitting there and you're watching guys and this thing's dragging out over the course of 3 hours? As you're sitting there and you're waiting and you're anticipating and then it doesn't come at that point in time, just what are the thoughts that go through your head?
Honestly, I was just I had so many people there, so I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter when I'm going to get drafted. I'm getting drafted to the NHL, and it's going to be probably one of the best days of my life. Like, everyone is here. All my buddies are here, teammates, family, cousins, buddy. Like, it was crazy. I mean, we probably had around 100 people. So I was like, you know what? Everything happens for a reason, and to go to an organization like Columbus is obviously unbelievable. And Adam and I were talking all year. We were like, what are the chances that we go to the same team? Right? We were like, no way. It just won't happen. And sure enough, it happens. And we're on a plane together coming here for Dev Camp the day after. And yeah, I mean, it's crazy how things work out. And I'm very fortunate to be here in the position that I'm in with these guys. And I'm just really, really happy I got to experience that in Nashville with my family, friends, and everyone who came out to support me.
You got a chance to play with Adam in a preseason game in Washington, and I was going to say what was that experience like, but we had a very, very long travel delay, so it's an experience you'll never forget. But how nice was it to once again be on the ice with Adam Fantilli?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we played together pretty much the whole year of Michigan, our freshman year, and it's we were like talking earlier before the game. We were like, what if the chemistry, like, what if it's not there anymore? We got out there, we were like, oh, thank God.
You had 3 hours to talk about that too, right?
Scored a breakaway, and I sprung him, and I was like, oh, he still got it maybe. And yeah, it's fun when you're on the ice with one of your best buddies. It's just fun. Like, you make a mistake or you make a bad pass, you go back to the bench together, and you kind of give each other a hard time maybe, but then you laugh it off and be okay, we actually need one now, or we need to make this happen, or we need to change the tide, whatever it is. It's always happens that we could just rely on each other and know that we're going to give it our all when we're on the ice together, and helps when you know where these guys are going to be on the ice too. So definitely playing in Michigan helps a lot, and it was a blast.
As it comes down to these final few days of camp and the final cuts will start being made, what's your mindset this week? Because, obviously you think about it. You want to just do everything you can do the best you can each and every day. You get a chance to go into games. You want to be noticeable in the games. But, what goes through your head as it's winding down and you're not exactly sure where you're going to be to start?
Yeah, I think just enjoy it. I mean, it's like I said earlier, I'm 19 years old and signed an NHL contract. Like, how could you not come to the rink every day and just be happy? And I've watched some of these guys on TV pretty much my whole life, and it's crazy to think that I'm in the same dressing room as them now and I'm sharing the same ice with them. So, yeah, just soak it all in, enjoy every day. And, I mean, it's hockey, right? It's still hockey, no matter where it is, wherever you're playing, whoever it is you're playing for. It's the game that you love, and all you can do is go out there and have fun.
I wish you nothing but the best of luck. It's been fun to watch you through this camp. You have been a noticeable guy, especially when you're out there in games. So the best of luck to you. Thank you for taking the time for me, and enjoy the rest of the ride here.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That's Gavin Brindley here on the Inside Edge, presented by First Merchants Bank. Jody Shelley rejoins me, and we'll wrap up this week's show after this on 97.1 The Fan.
Whatever you're doing right now, just know that Bo Bishop is enjoying a sip of bourbon. Even if this promo is playing in the morning, no judgment.
Ah, sweet morning drinking.
The Fan.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or two half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Who are the people that serve part-time in the Ohio Army National Guard? We are your neighbors and friends. We are your sons and daughters. Our service is providing us valuable job skills. and it pays up to 100% of our tuition. We're proud to serve our state. We are your Ohio Army National Guard. Learn more about part-time service with the Ohio Army National Guard at nationalguard.com/OH.
Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard. Aired by the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
I'm Leslie from Pella Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from that other window place.
Pella has forever been known for the best of windows, Wilson, but our doors just as game-changing.
Yep, same with us.
We've got traditional and modern options, but also some really innovative stuff, like big, bold colors or tuck-away sliding doors.
But do you have the give it a little kick to open it door?
Does that mean what I think it means?
Yeah, you got to give it a good little kick to open it.
Get the windows and doors that Columbus homeowners rate the leading and most trusted. PellaColumbus.com.
Football season is here, and we have so much stuff. One station isn't enough. Find even more Pigskin on ESPN Columbus.
Set your second preset to AM 1460 or 97.1 FM HD2, or listen on the Fan app.
Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan.
Let's talk interest rates. Not that kind of interest. I mean interest in you. At First Merchants Bank, we are 100% interested in your success. Our bankers provide a level of attentiveness unlike any other. We're here to get to know you and to be a helpful partner in your financial success. Aren't you tired of your bank just saying they care about your business? Make the switch to First Merchants Bank and feel the difference of real, honest interest in you. First Merchants Bank. For a better banking experience, visit firstmerchants.com/switch, helping you prosper.
Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
When you have a cracked windshield, who can you trust? Choose the auto glass experts at Safe Light. We make it so easy, you can schedule at safelight.com. With our state-of-the-art technology, we can replace your windshield and recalibrate your car's advanced safety system to get you back on the road safely. Schedule now at safelight.com. Go ahead, play that jingle.
Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
This truck season, think about all the things you can do in a Chevy truck. You'll be able to... Or you can even just... With impressive towing, incredible bed and tailgate functionality, and multiple powertrains, Chevy trucks have what you need to get things done. When you want to do it all, Chevy's got you. At your Central Ohio Chevy dealers.
Let's talk interest rates. Not that kind of interest. I mean interest in you. At First Merchants Bank, we are 100% interested in your success. Our bankers provide a level of attentiveness unlike any other. We're here to get to know you and to be a helpful partner in your financial success. Aren't you tired of your bank just saying they care about your business? Make the switch to First Merchants Bank and feel the difference of real, honest interest in you. First Merchants Bank. For a better banking experience, visit firstmerchants.com/switch, helping you prosper.
All Blue Jackets, all the time. This is the Inside Edge with Jody Shelley and Bob McElligott. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
The Blue Jackets Foundation 50-50 raffle presented by Kemba is holding a rolling jackpot for the home opener benefiting the John and Matthew Gaudreau Foundation. The jackpot is already at $13,021 and it will continue to roll until the end of the second intermission on October 15th. For rules or to purchase your raffle tickets, go to BlueJackets5050.com. Getting ready to wrap up the Inside Edge presented by First Merchants Bank. And Jody, this will be a big week, as you said this earlier, not just here in Columbus, but in the league, because there's a lot of things going on. First of all, let's start with big injuries. There have already been a couple, one of them to a former Blue Jacket, Patrik Laine. He suffers an injury in a knee-on-knee collision in a game against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Montreal Canadiens will not have his services the entire year. It just keeps happening to Patrik Laine.
It's too bad. I mean, you really feel bad for Patrik Laine because he dealt with injuries here in Columbus, and then he had to take a leave for personal reasons, and you know, he gets that fresh start in Montreal. They were excited to get him there. He was excited to be back in a high-pressure Canadian market, and in an exhibition game, it's an awkward collision, and he's out. So, and there's a lot of talk of too many exhibition games. I mean, how do you protect it from injury in hockey? I mean, it's just a freak play. Everyone's trying to make the team. You're going against, that's a rival when you're in Montreal and the Maple Leafs are in town. So you're playing hard, and then you just feel for Patrik, and you hope, you wish him the best. And there's other injuries. Last night, Panarin goes out, lower body injury in New York, playing against pretty much the Utica Comets, because the New Jersey Devils are in Prague. They left Sunday. So it's like it's all the guys from Utica playing against the New York Rangers. They hung in there and had a good game, but Panarin left. I think he played 2.5 minutes. Kevin Dineen was coaching that game. It was great to see him. So a lot of these top players are out. Doughty is out with the Los Angeles Kings, their number one D. He went out with just a real awkward collision on the boards. And, as a veteran, you're aware of that when you go into games. You're aware of you want to stay away from injury. But when you're competing and you're on the puck, you're just playing. So it's really unfortunate to see some of these teams. New Jersey, they got Pesce. He had shoulder off-season surgery. He's not ready yet to start the season. But, when these teams get healthy, there is a bright side, I guess. There is that opportunity for players. We've always talked about that. And I think some of these players or teams with depth are getting a look at some players that might fit in. But right now, just the Patrick Laine thing, that's terrible news for him.
As you're talking about the length of the preseason, I'm just wondering, the Board of Governors meetings just took place this week, and one of the things Gary Bettman came out and said was they're going to start soon. Next year, they're going to start negotiating the new collective bargaining agreement with the players, because that's up in September of 2026. I just wonder, and again, I know nothing, and I'm just talking from listening to you talk, and this idea comes up. Do you think that the players' union would be at all interested in trying to do something like the NFL where you're going to have X amount of preseason games? Because so many teams have different numbers of games, right?
Yeah.
Blue Jackets have 8. I think St. Louis has 8 because they still had 2 left to play last night. You've got Washington. I think they play 6. Pittsburgh plays 6. So it kind of goes by organization. And maybe I'm just making a bigger deal out of it than I need to here. But I just wonder, because one thing in those games, you have to have X amount of players in the games that have so many NHL games under their belt, because you're trying to make it, you don't just want to put an American Hockey League team out there and have your fans coming and paying NHL prices for that.
I think the number's 5, and I think there needs to be more runway before the games start. I know players probably don't like that, because I used to love as a player to get into camp, have 2 days of practice, and then play an exhibition game. You're right into it. And things kind of taper down and you get into a routine. But more of a runway before that first game, I think, helps. Get everyone up to speed, get the systems, kind of whittle down your camp a little bit, and maybe even 4 games. Because when they're at a premium, when those games are at a premium, you're going to get more players playing more games. And not that that's necessary. I mean, you look at teams that play in the playoffs, you're getting up around 100 games in a season. You can get that high. So I think the number's 5. I'll go back from the 4, and I think that you're going to see that. I mean, it's already talked about because the CBA is coming up here in a couple of years, and it's something now with the injuries and the spotlight on the big name players that are getting injured. You're going to see some kind of change.
I wonder about it because Marty Walsh is now the head of the Players Union. And this is a guy that was, he was the governor of Massachusetts. He headed up the labor department for President Biden. I mean, this guy knows about workers and work conditions and all that kind. It's just a little bit different now. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that in a bad way. I think he and Gary Bettman have already worked together to do some really good things, like the Four Nations tournament that'll be played in February. And, they're going back to the Olympics, so they're making some headway between the two. But that's why I bring it up. I just wonder, because it seems like some things are a little different here. As in the past, a lot of times it was former players that were really involved in the union, and they still are. But now you've got a union head that's like, hey, guys, look, there's some things we need to take care of here, and you could just see that happening the last year and a half.
Yeah, a good leader. He'll understand that's a negotiating chip for sure, and it's for the best interest of the players. And Gary Bettman's been on the record to say, hey, now we have a really good partner in the PA to work with. So they'll make the changes that need to be made for the best for the league and the players.
Yeah, and another thing that's going to be interesting to watch this week, like we were talking about the Blue Jackets back in the first segment, who might make the team, who might not. Waivers is going to be interesting this week, because the Blue Jackets, look, Jody, when you look at this roster, like, we could talk about a young guy making the team, but they are short on forwards right now, especially with Justin Danforth still injured and not taking part in any of these preseason games. This is a team that maybe could benefit from an experienced guy or two that winds up on waivers that they could bring over.
And they just got an exemption for the cap floor, and they're still below. I think they're just below $2 million for being
somewhere like that.
at the floor. So you have to spend a minimum for the team, and they got an exemption from the Johnny Gaudreau contract, his bonus in the offseason. Just a terrible thing still to talk about. I mean, it's going to be forever. But so now that'll be interesting when you see waiver wire players on PTOs and other teams. There will be. You're right. There's a certain type of depth forward you might be able to pick up here that fits in for the Blue Jackets organization. James Van Riemsdyk was a late signing. I like that signing.
I really like it. Watching him in a couple of preseason games this week, I really like it.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, he's been around. He's seen it all. He's coached and played with. He's been coached and played with some superstars. Matt Martin to me is an interesting one. He's 40-something games away from 1,000. He's on a PTO with the Islanders. I don't know where they'd fit him in the cap. They're right up against it. I would like him for this locker room. That's just my opinion. He's got character. He's a great locker room guy. You've always been the youngest team in the league. They're dealing with a lot right now in that locker room, and it would be nice to have, in my opinion, a guy like Matt Martin walk in and kind of help this season in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I like that too, especially what you said. We've talked so many times, youngest team, second youngest team, and now you've got a Jack Johnson, a Sean Corrali, Eric Goodbranson, James Van Riemsdyk comes in here. You can see that turning a little bit, and I don't mean turning with the number of the age of the team. I mean turning with the experience and the voices that are now in the room.
It's so important. And I always go back to you got Fantilli, you got Sillinger, you got Kent Johnson, young superstars. There's some great veteran people in that locker room. And it always helps to have one more. I just think. And especially a new coach, you want to change things. You want things to be different. Sometimes they always bring in good people here. And if they don't work out, then they move them along. And I think Matt Martin is one of those guys. That's just one name that comes to the top of my head. There's going to be you're right. It's going to be crazy, some of the names you see on the waiver wire, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah, and the guy you're talking about plays with plenty of sandpaper, and this is a coach that likes to play with sandpaper, too.
I mean, you got Olivier Goodbranson, Matt Martin, Jack Johnson's physicality. I'm missing somebody else. But, I think it's important. And then if you do fill that spot, give the young guys another maybe half a season to earn their spot back up here. I think we always talk about Detroit back in the day. They didn't rush their guys. Steve Yzerman's still not rushing his guys. Let them become pros and then bring them up when they're ready to make an impact.
And Yzerman did the same thing as when he was a GM of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and look at the kind of run that they had for quite a while. All right, Jody, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Great, Bob. Good talking to you again.
All right, that is Jody Shelley. Thanks to Gavin Brindley for being on tonight's show, and that's going to do it for the Inside Edge, presented by First Merchants Bank. You're listening to 97.1 The Fan.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Ohio Heating and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Hey, Bobby Carpenter here for my friends at Affinity Whole Health. Affinity is the leader in testosterone and hormone replacement therapy, but they are also much more than that. They help men and women who are experiencing things like low energy, low libido, muscle loss, and weight gain. Turn it all around. You can feel amazing and live better just like I can. It can be delivered right to your door, which is tremendous. Semaglutide for weight loss and testosterone and hormone replacement therapy for so much more. I've been a customer for years and it works. Get started at feelgreatcolumbus.com.
Does your vehicle need maintenance, but you don't have time? Krieger Ford's got you covered. Enjoy our convenient pickup and delivery service, or we come to you with our mobile service van. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Schedule your appointment today only at KriegerFord.com.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. Green & Sons has all the Kubotas you need to tackle your land and come out a winner. They have zero-turn skid steers, tractors from 18 to 171 horsepower, and also utility vehicles. My favorite is my RTV Sidekick. The best thing about Green & Sons is they've been family-owned and operated since 1970, and you will love dealing with the Green family and their winning team. Do what I did and check out Green & Sons located in Mount Sterling and Marysville or online at greenandsons.com for all your Kubota needs.
Here on The Fan, we talk about getting rid of joint pain with the regenerative experts at QC Kinetics. There's no surgery, no downtime, just your body's own healing properties working to give you relief. So you can enjoy doing the activities that you love, like the fastest growing sport in the country. That's pickleball. And here in the Columbus area, QC Kinetics is proud to be a sponsor of Paddle Tap's Pickleball Club. Learn, grow your skills, challenge yourself, and meet other pickleball players. Paddle Tap's Pickleball Club features the ultimate indoor facility with 16 state-of-the-art courts. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, Paddle Tap welcomes all skill levels. See what you're missing. Call Paddle Taps and mention QC Kinetics, and you'll get 1 hour of free play, courtesy of QC Kinetics, the people who take care of those achy joints, so you can play for years to come. For details, go to pbtaps.com. That's pbtaps.com. pbtaps.com.
Young people are leaving foster care at the age of 18 with little support and few skills. The National Fund for Foster Children partners with individuals, businesses, churches, and civic groups to provide mentorship, training, and assistance to foster children. Teach a young person a new skill or help them with homework. You don't need to be a foster parent to help a foster child. To find out how you can help, go to fosterchildrenfund.org or contact us on Facebook, National Fund for Foster Children.